Spider-Man's spider sense is one of his most highly valued powers, responsible for keeping him alive through harrowing threat after threat. But what if he never bothers to listen to it? What if he never tries to get out of the way of the incoming threat? How good are his survival odds then? That's what I decided to test as I went through Spider-Man 2018 without the ability to press circle to dodge or be allowed to take damage. If I do either, it's back to the last checkpoint for me, all while on ultimate difficulty. Story QTEs don't count, as they're interactive cutscenes. This is one of the challenges that took place before my 100th challenge, as I used this to practice for that true no damage run. So, hello to all of you from the past. I hope the future's doing better. Let's go see if New York can be saved if its hero is all offense, minimum defense. First fight equals forced tutorial. Time freezes till I relent and dodge, but at least the only thing Spidey is dodging is a perfect no dodge record, and not any other danger. The second dodge I do isn't forced by the game, merely by the power of habit. I'm gonna have to learn to resist that pronto. Right after, there's an immediate second forced dodge because the game seems to hate even the idea of this challenge, as this henchman opens fire again, dealing damage when I refuse to give ground. Second try, I attack immediately, so they don't get a chance to pull the trigger and relentlessly follow through, so the gunman never gets a chance to see straight. From there, uppercuts into the air on the unarmed thugs keeps me out of reach until it's time for Fisk Tower. Maybe this once, his men will go quietly and offer little resistance. A spider can dream. Well, actually, can spiders dream? I'm gonna look this up real quick. Looks like possibly they do? Cool. Too bad this particular spider's dream isn't working out so well. Fisk has plenty of time to get his shiny dome out of town, as I can't even get through the lobby of his building. The majority blocking my way are packing pistols, and besides my weak, unupgraded web shooter, my only weapon is trash. Good thing Willie insists on keeping his tower so clean, as I have plenty to throw. If I'm close enough to them, the fear of getting whacked by garbage deters action from the enemy. But I better choose very carefully who gets to taste the garbage, so I don't get shot in the windup. Getting in close enough to intimidate with the swings after the initial one proves quite difficult though, and I'm often rewarded with a new bullet hole or 3. 45 more blows to my bruised arachnid man body before I decide working with the police is better than lone wolfing it. Or I guess lone wolf spidering it? Meaning if I hide behind the entrance into the lobby, I can't be targeted, and I can pull the henchmen bit by bit into either flopping to the ground, thanks to help from the police, or close enough that I can deal with most of them without exposing myself to more danger. Of course, I can't really do anything about being smote by God to force a healing tutorial, but at least the backup that rushes in from the elevators can be controlled through rapid switching between the targets. It doesn't really matter how many melee units race in, as no guns means no problem. It's anytime even a single gun enters the fray that I begin to shake with worry. But usually, the environment proves to be a big help, both offensively and defensively. If only this tower wasn't tutorial hell. I've already had to dodge twice in Times Square, and now I have to choose between dodging this rocket or taking a face full of damage. And then I have to learn to dodge under a corrupt police shieldman as the universe keeps freezing if I don't cooperate. That's 4 forced failures before I even lay a hand on Fisk. Tutorials will always be my bane. As for my easily angered pal here, the only worry is his 2 turrets opening fire. I take 5 losses back to back as I refine my movement. Webbing up the first turret and hiding behind it till the second is done firing allows me to remove both of them safely. Fisk proves to be little more than a punching bag, easily handled by all the throwables, webs, and finishers I have access to. Dodging isn't important when my jumps and web zips easily keep me out of his grasp. The hardest part of defeating Fisk's first construction isn't what I thought it would be, namely, bullets. There aren't that many gunmen here, and the ones that are find themselves impact web to a wall before they even think of hurling an insult my way. That should mean it's a breeze to sail through the waves of thugs, but just one screw up means discovering the real hard part is that the fight doesn't fully reset. It only brings me back to wave 2 or wave 4, but with a fully reset optional mission counter. How rude of them to forget that detail. Sticking around for these optional missions and fighting extra slow so I can recharge my suit power for speedy focus gain allows back-to-back finishers. Plus, it gives me the chance to learn that I don't need to dodge to avoid a whack to the tonsils when I can simply leap off the thugs before any hit can connect. This makes finisher recharge easy to gain when I have all the time and none of the danger. Plus, if irritating his foes is half Spidey's charm, then I must be the most charming Spider-Man around. As for the second construction site, honestly, I'm very surprised they never took any damage. Machine guns don't match Impact Web's, impact, along with finishers to protect me when any get too close to lining up their aim. Plus, these finishers refill my Impact Web, which means more web. Always a win. Here's to hoping this success is closer to the norm than being an outlier, but the crimes I try to stop right after aren't boosting that hope. Crime seems to actually pay half the time, especially when they have guns. The rest of the construction sites are deconstructed quicker than I ever expected, with Web Zip being an MVP to get me around the arena as fast as possible and holding gadget selection to slow down time so I can get a handle on where any of the gunmen might be. I reset more times due to accidentally dodging than out of actual injury. With so much of the city tidied up and my web throwing skills improved as much as I can, I'm in pursuit of Shocker. Honestly, not a bad time, y'all. I knew Shocker would try and blast me after I caught him the first time, so while I risked getting too far from him, I decided to have New York protect me, like I normally protect it, keeping buildings between me and him at all times. He wouldn't try to blast me if he can't see me. This meant I could track him without being in danger until the very last moments of the chase, where I got lucky with the one blast he fired off missing, and then pouncing on him before he could fire again. I really would appreciate it if he doesn't do any more crime, because I suspect the next time we meet, I won't have as many innocents to put between the two of us. Then I can begin helping Harry's research stations, an important task for the reward alone, as I need the research tokens to unlock vital upgrades, like the Spider Drone, Scavenger upgrades so finishers double my gadget regain, and most importantly, the Mark II suit for the bulletproof upgrade. Who needs to dodge when you can simply endure? The answer to that is I do. Being bulletproof won't matter much against Herman's return, which is a real shame, and more importantly, a real pain. I jumped 15 losses back to back as I can't even get out of his first blast, especially with so much of the bank still standing at the start to get in my way. I want to survive long enough for Shocker to break most of it and make my life a lot easier, so I need to be as fast as possible if I want to dodge his blast without actually dodging his blast, if you know what I mean. Web Zip continues to be the MVP so I can maneuver fast enough, but it's not enough on its own, needing my swings to stay inches ahead of a new concussion. Shocker will let off 3 blasts, and then I'm good to give him a concussion of his own. Do that a couple times and I get a new checkpoint, which helps a lot, because this whole speed tactic isn't a guaranteed success, especially if I try to beat Shocker to the punch before he's distracted. Don't rush, but certainly hurry, and Shocks will fail to dodge his way out of this predicament. I'm 20 plus losses further along, and at 111 losses total now, so he certainly didn't go quietly. I'm going to jump those losses way up if I'm not careful about waiting for my bulletproof upgrade to be ready before I jump into the fray. It's a 2-minute wait, which feels much longer when you're stuck watching shootouts happen for the sidelines. It's a good thing everyone's the worst shots imaginable. Truly, I'm the only one ever in danger out here. It does not help that feeling when I beat a group of demons, and for my troubles, I get jumped instantly after by a trio of undercover Fisk thugs. Wonderful Parker luck. Sometimes it's not about luck though, and more about remembering to actually activate bulletproof. That does help, I hear. Now that the demons are prowling the streets, my random crime success rate plummets. Only 30 seconds of bulletproof can't save me with so many enemies to tackle before my protection runs out, while I'm also trying to earn optional objectives. Those optionals are a big part of my losses as I don't fight quite as effectively trying to earn them. That's proven in the fact that story missions, which lack optional objectives, consistently go better than random crimes. Well, until I have to disable this helicopter while this demon swordsman tries to kebab me, It's seemingly impossible without dodging, as every method I try fizzles out. Tapping or holding the button, trying to auto-win QTEs, trying to increase the dodge window, trying to get the demon to take the longest route, since the floor stab takes longer for him, and just trying to tire the fella out. Nothing. Any result ends in me being hit or doing nothing. 2 dodges are required to stop this disaster, made very apparent by the fact that the first engine disabling takes so long that the demon is able to break free and stab me, but I'm thankfully still protected by the animation. I would love to know who decided that it made any sense for this guy to be that fast. At least the demons are down and will never bother anyone ever again. If only. Investigating the demon gang's bases, I have zero trouble taking out the first, but much more trouble with the rocket foes in the second. The answer for why is simple: positioning. In the first base, I was in the perfect middle level to obstruct most views of me, so I wouldn't be caught unaware. But by the second base, I struggled because I had to give up my good position to hunt down the rocket troopers, often ending up with a rocket to the face for my trouble. But using the walls to block their line of sight and finishers to get even closer means I can scrape by without having to be scraped off the ground. The nice thing about losing is restarting recharges my suit power, allowing me to resist gunfire and have a much easier time. It is pretty useful for helping me stop Mr. Negative's rush hour rampage, as the bullets bounce right off me while my gadgets sweep the rampagers away. Spider Drone combined with the suspension matrix is especially good at keeping negative spirits from overwhelming me. That may be the case with his inner world of turmoil, but not so much in the real world as I take on Mr. Negative in the narrow space of a subway car. My losses jump massively as I try to keep Negative from counterattacking me without my ability to web sling or even the ability to jog away. It is not looking good for me. Thankfully, web bombs and electric webs still are of use to keep Lee slightly controlled. I can combine that with only hitting him 3 times instead of 4, so that Lee is unlikely to become immune to damage and counter me, as long as I give him a breather anyway. But that doesn't solve the issue completely, as he absorbs more power from his men and forces me into dodging with an attack that can't be avoided any other way. Suit powers are off limits here, while trying to control him is useless and usually ends with me touching noses with him, making it both awkward and easy for him to hit me. I do try to find a minimum number of times his forced dodge power will be used by repeatedly resetting to checkpoint and trying again, and I think I do find that number, but that minimum is 15 shots to this challenge's cranium, which brings me from 6 forced uses to 21. That's bad. Not positive, in fact. I can't think of a better word than that to sum it up. Less than it would have been if I had dodged his first phase, but still. Yikes. This time, surely, that's it, and the demon threat is over, right? Let's make absolutely sure by going out into the city and neutralizing all the demon bases, along with Tombstone's drug operation. Toomey's boys aren't very good at observing their surroundings, making pretty light work of them. And Tombstone provides only light resistance, as he's severely limited without any range abilities. Still, I have to watch out for how soon he can recover from my attacks and knock me on my tush. But all my webs and only a couple whacks before dropping back and repeating means it's closing time for Tombstone's drug business. Might as well throw Taskmaster in the mix too, with only a single combat section causing me trouble. I was surrounded by gunmen on all sides, and had minimum cover while racing against the time, leading to over a dozen losses. But letting loose every single gadget in my arsenal keeps the enemies too stunned to do more than shake in pain. As for Taskmaster himself, all his memorization of my moves means nothing when I put myself in an alley pre-ambush, so I'm surrounded by maximum objects to fling at him. I only need a couple though when I use quad damage to fold the mercenary's clothes while he's still in them, dropping him with zero hassle. But this city is much like a freshly mopped floor. The only thing that ever seems to follow is someone tracking in mud right after. Mud in the form of a prison break. When Electro tries to zap me, the power of Wall once again comes to my rescue. You'd think I'd have to dodge Electro's wall blast when sprinting after him, but activating Defense Matrix to shut off all damage for a few moments makes it that simple to give chase. It's good to see Cinematic Spidey stick to no dodging, but he seems to have forgotten the no damage aspect of the challenge. Tisk tisk. Now that the city's given up any pretense of caring about my mental or physical health, getting around can be quite the challenge. If you want to not gain any new bullet holes, that is. Not wanting to be left without being bulletproof during key moments, I only activate it while swinging if I'm absolutely certain I'm about to be hit. It's incredibly important in stopping the attacks on the police precincts, and really, I'm not sure how doable this challenge would have been without it, especially when Sable's flying monkeys get involved. Top priority targets they are. The city is burning, but come on everyone, I can only clean it up so many times. It's better to focus on the supervillains, as I'm sure they're going to be trouble enough on their own. Which is immediately proven when Vulture forces me to dodge his first strike with the game providing me no other means to act. In fact, whenever he swoops in, it takes away my ability to do anything else. But post that first strike, I only need to keep defense matrix up to deflect his blows. Electro is only a minor nuisance, easily webbed up and disabled, but I have to stay on my guard for Vulture. I do get a slight setback of a few minutes when I'm forced to reload a save before the mission, as I took damage at the exact same moment I made it to a new checkpoint. True supervillain behavior for forcing a save reload. With Defense Matrix doing the majority of the work here, these two supervillains can't last long, and now Otto's Sinister Six is the Frightful Four. Maybe Wizard will show up and sue for copyright, but I don't see him winning that fight. Nothing like a little fear toxin to spice life up. I had hoped simply zipping by the giant pointy tails of death would do, but it's too unreliable. It's a great thing Defense Matrix is much more reliable. I really love having that one. Going after Scorps and Rhino at once couldn't be simpler, with quad damage tearing Mac down fast as can be and leaving Rhino vulnerable on his own. Now only the dastardly duo remain. Please, Marty, don't be as cruel to my challenge as last time we fought. And he isn't. Mainly because this time he's not trying to hit me with a move I have no choice but to dodge. Plus, the room is a real room, and not in a tiny area like last time, meaning I can keep swinging out of reach. All that remains is Otto. That is, if I just pretend the city isn't actively burning, which we are going to do for my peace of mind. This city is supposed to be full of heroes, like Daredevil or Luke Cage. It's their turn to take a shift. Otto gives me a surprising amount of trouble, mainly because I severely underestimate how long his reach is, combined with the game taking away my favorite suit powers. And suit. Without the bag, who even am I? Guess we'll have to find out. This battle is mostly about unloading all the web bombs possible on him, or chucking back the wreckage he sends at me. It's very simplistic, and with all this room to swing around, I'm not in much danger, unless I sit still too long. But everything is ruined when Ock disables my gadgets, leaving me with only punching and dodging. I try not to let up on him, so he can't fight back, but that's sadly not an option, as I guess it would ruin the drama of the fight. Most unfortunate. Attempt after attempt at least lets me find that 5 is the minimum number of dodges I can get this area to, clobbering Octavius till we have ourselves a Huzz. Not quite huzzah with 26 forced dodges, but it was fun regardless. 283 resets over 13 hours, 51 minutes, and a newfound hatred over the subway duel with Mr. Negative sums up my Spidey adventure without dodging or damage. My suit upgrades were absolutely vital and ensured this was as possible as it could be. Sometimes, the suit does make the spider, it seems. Or the bag makes the spider, in my case. Thank you all for watching, I truly hope you enjoyed. This is Past Shenanaloon, hoping that all this paid off for my 100th challenge. Either way, it's been fun having to fight so aggressively, and learn to push my target priority skills to their maximum. I'm swinging off to the next Spidey challenge now. I'll see you soon, friends.